Jeff, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's closing day for the City and State New York magazine. So Fridays are always fun, but also stressful.
But congratulations. Let's start there. Congratulations are in order.
Well,
The
thank you
hardest
so much. I
working
mean, heck,
man.
yeah, look, it's been a couple months as editor in chief of City and State. It still feels really new. And of course, this is a return for me. I was at City and State for 9 years, starting as an intern, then a freelancer, editorial assistant, reporter, City Hall bureau chief. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I've helped build up City and State over much of its 20-year history. And now I'm getting to take the helm, and it's just an incredible place to be. The reporters and the writers and the whole team are putting out incredible work. We have great events. We just play a unique role in the New York City political and the New York City and state political ecosystem. One that I'm really proud of.
Hey, and here's what I would say. You were the first guest on this new iteration of a podcast. And I'll tell you, we sort of did a recap a couple of years back or a year back. Can't remember how long I've been doing this. And I remember you basically going over Selmos and the rundown. But I have an interesting anecdote about life, right? And what I've learned about this business, which is why whenever I have the opportunity or when anyone wants my advice, sometimes people don't want it, but sometimes I give it unsolicited. You never know, you know. I saw it with Ocasio, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let's get into it. On November 26th, 2000, was it 25? I had a conversation with a gentleman called Zoran Mamdani.
Mhm.
And the reason that day I'll never forget, it was my birthday. So he came in gracious. I mean, he actually knew it, right? I mean, he really charmed the hell out of me. And sure enough, you know how when you on your phone things pop up like pictures, and it popped up a year to the date. And from that point, in a coffee shop in Astoria on Steinway Street, a
Mhm.
year later, he was an international figure, not a
Crazy.
city figure. So for those of people that assume they know, they don't know. So
It blows my mind the way that this has happened. I mean, genuinely. And I will be the first to admit I did not predict that Zoran Mamdani would be the mayor. I met with him right before he was going to announce. And I was like, all right, but like for real, like what are you trying to do? You're just trying to build up the socialist brand. Are you just trying to, you
mm,
know, criticize Eric Adams? And he's like, no, no, I can win. And I was like, no, you can't. Get out of here. And anyway, here we are. That's
yeah.
why I'm a journalist and not a political consultant. Because clearly I didn't think he could win.
But Jeff, let's start with from January 1 to February 20th, 2026. Talk what things have what are the things he's gotten right so far, the new mayor? And what are some of the things based on all the things you've read or seen that he hasn't, right? So some can make an argument of him sort of having rolled back things, but I'm gonna let you take that. And how would you grade him so far 2 months in or
Sure.
close to three
So
months in?
he's the staffing is, of course, the biggest and most important part about the early administration. Choosing your team, who's going to be around you, and broadly, I can't speak for each individual person, but broadly, uh, he's gotten a lot of respect for the team that he has put together, and that notably is with a lot of real government veterans. And now it seems obvious. Now we've known that Dean Foulahan was going to be his first deputy mayor for several months, and so it just seems. But I don't want to take that as a given. It's possible that a young, relatively experienced mayor like Mamdani, who didn't have any city government experience, could have said, "No, I want to fill my team with people like me." new thinkers, people who are thinking outside the box. And instead, it's been a balance. It's been new people that don't come from New York City government, but it's also been a lot of people that are trusted, respected, and even if they're not trusted and respected, everyone can agree that they know how the city budget works. Dean Foulahan, you might not agree with his decisions, but nobody can deny that he gets it. He gets it. He's been dealing with New York budgets for decades. So, credit to Mamdani's staffing up. Again, obviously there were stumbles with social media posts that created a lot of anger and controversy. But like big picture, stepping back, all of his deputy mayors are just like experienced, respected operators. And yeah, and then yeah, I guess credit where it's due there. I mean, I think that's something he's done well. Um, then on the other hand, I have been disappointed with his communication on the city budget. And I just, this guy is a really gifted communicator. And I think that it just feels like he has been so, for lack of a better term, political with this whole thing. I mean, he talked all of this about not playing budget games when he was running for mayor and when he was criticizing Eric Adams for playing budget games. And I don't know how else to describe what this budget is other than playing budget games. I mean, he's they're maybe not the exact same games as as his predecessors, but they're games. So those are the two big things. And he's done a lot in these first couple weeks, and he's doing a good job of certainly communicating to the people in terms of letting New Yorkers know that he's active and that he's on the job and that he's shoveling snow and that he wants you to sign up for pre-K. I mean, he's out there and he's using his public-facing celebrity for for public service purposes, more or less. And you got to appreciate that.
Jeff, talk about the traditional dealing with the flax, period. The previous mayor, called called the reporter a vile, evil. I don't want to misspeak, but somewhere along those lines. I mean, from taking chairs from reporters to, it was like really like a servant volley, and it seems to be ongoing. At least
Yeah,
he's sort
we're
of
still
taking
in
the reins,
the
like taking,
oh
basically saying that he's still tweeting away there, but
Eric Adams. I
terms.
mean, the way that Eric Adams is complaining about reporters' coverage of the Mamdani administration, I mean, just to put it simply, the guy is saying like, you're not covering his budget tricks, and he's literally like screenshotting stories about reporters covering the mayor's budget tricks. So it's like Eric Adams, like he just sounds like he's just whining. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame that he is taking this perspective in the new term and not using his immense knowledge of city politics and connections for some other purpose. And instead, he's just kind of like complaining on Twitter from the cheap seats. I think Eric Adams will settle into a new role in this world of politics. This one right now feels a little unsettled. So we'll see. So that's Eric Adams. As for dealing with the press and Mamdani's team, we're still in the getting to know you phase. There were by the end of the Adams administration, that was years of experience with each other, with the spokespeople and the reporters, and the hits kind of build up, and we're still learning with Mamdani's team, and more than that, Mamdani's team is still learning. It's pretty notable that his top tier of communications folks in City Hall are all new to city government. There are some experienced hands in there, credit to Monica Klein, for example, who worked for de Blasio, but a lot of them come from Bernie Sanders' world. And then, his daily press secretary, Dora Pekic, is very sharp and impressive. But this is her first job in city government. She didn't have city government experience before this. So she's also learning. And I do find that notable. So reporters are getting to know them, they're getting to know the reporters, and they are getting to know city government.
But Jeff, you can feel that. I know you're getting to know them. You can feel warm and fuzzy. The play's going to be, come in, talk to the mayor every now and again, round tables. You can feel that. I mean, what's your temperature check so far? Is it going to be, remember Sally Goldenberg made it just sort of went into the differences in different administration. And she talked about how de Blasio's admin was extremely intergovernmental affairs focused, right? And Bloomberg
Thanks
took
to
more of
you.
a,
Yeah.
Bloomberg was, had different posture, right? So what's your sense so far? What direction do you think they're going in? Do you think they're leaning more towards, hey, I'm going to come by room 9 and every now and again and drop off some pizza and, whatever. I mean, if that's even, I'm just going hypothetically, but what's the approach? What's the feeling? Is it a welcoming feeling? Or is it, I'm going to put you in a trailer because you're not,
Yeah, no, it's a welcoming feeling at this point. Mamdani was pretty notable through the campaign for uh, pretty much always smiling through it, and he also smiled through even the hit pieces against him, and he mostly just smiled through it, and that's been his approach so far regarding the journalists covering City Hall. Eric Adams really let it get to him at the end and really throughout. We haven't seen that with Mamdani. He seems to be saying, this is part of the game. I accept it. I'm gonna smile through it. And look, I would love always more transparency, always more clarity from the mayor himself on his thinking rather than just keeping it vague. He does a bad job of directly answering questions. He can be quite annoying in that way. But hey, I want him to do better, but also I understand that he's a politician. So that's kind of the name of the game, right? But he needs to do better with that. That is his approach towards the press. If you're asking about the administration's approach a little more broadly, I will point out that they've really hammered the consumer and worker protection aspect of City Hall. This first month, Sam Levine, the new Consumer and Worker Protection Commissioner, has been everywhere. He has been the most visible commissioner in Mamdani's administration, which is crazy because that's usually just a less prominent office. But this guy's everywhere. Mamdani is hitting it really hard with, suing corporations or, taking public stands against them in the idea of worker consumers, worker protection, putting money back in New Yorkers' pockets, that kind of thing. So that's clearly a public focus of the Mamdani administration.
Two-pronged question now. Tin Cup Day, what'd you think in terms of past mayors, how he was received? Was it a love fest? I mean, it was very long. Was it a love fest? Was it, we're gonna basically let you know that your municipality is state? How would you grade that? And the other thing is, I want you to basically give me your thoughts on the current relationship between the two. Obviously, nothing will ever be like Cuomo de Blasio, right? That was like,
Yeah.
but I'm saying in general, skip the tax millionaires rally, right? Governor very kind with the health childcare money, then another like 1.5 billion to help. But then there's this property tax thing, right? That has created some back and forth with the city members. And then it's like, okay, if we need to figure this budget gap out. Either we do that or we get help. So I just want your thoughts on those two things, on those dynamics, and what your thoughts are.
So to oversimplify the relationship with Mamdani and Hochul, so caveat there, he is letting her take the dominant position. And obviously, the governor is always going to be statutorily dominant to the mayor, but he's letting her do that. I mean, he is letting Hochul be the one that's kind of driving the conversation and the budget, and it's she is giving him 1.5 billion dollars, and she is giving him uh, child care, and he is not going to the tax the rich rally because he's worried that it would offend her, basically. And he endorsed her for governor really early. I didn't expect it in February. Of course, we all knew that he was going to endorse her eventually, but I didn't expect it, before the convention. Uh, he's being kind of subservient to her. I find this very interesting because there is another, I don't know, alternate universe where Mamdani comes in as this, the new Wonder Boy mayor, and is just like, I'm the man now. I'm taking over. And it has not been that kind of public facing relationship at all. So I find that interesting. As for Tin Cup Day, I'll just say briefly, yes, so totally it was a love fest. Even the Republicans that were like trying to like rag on him, even they were smiling through it. It was all a show. They were having a fun time. He was charming. He had the good responses, that kind of thing. He had the good responses on the on like the quips. I mean, when it came to the actual budget, there were some questions, and there continue to be some questions. But I will note I talked to Assemblymember Chantel Jackson of the Bronx. She was one of those members that was hamming it up with Mamdani. And she told me at caucus weekend, she's like, yeah, look, he was just here with us. He just was an assembly member. We're all friends with him. Of course, we were having a good time. And he just started as mayor. Next year, though, she said, next year, I don't think it's going to be so nice. Next year, he's going to have been the mayor for 14 months at that point, and we're going to be talking a little more about accountability. So I look forward to Tin Cup Day 2027.
The other piece I want to ask you about is the um, obviously this community safety you know office that he's going to create, a new deputy mayor. What are your thoughts between that relationship in one PP and City Hall? What are your thoughts? Um,
I will refer.
say a lot of things in this world, but one of the things that seem to be uniform is how that's going to play out, that relationship and that dynamic. So here we are 3 months in, and I want to hear your thoughts as how you're seeing things develop, unfold. Just I want to hear what you think.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Still developing. I mean, I'll refer to a City and State headline that was, Mamdani still has a lot of answers to give. We need a lot of answers on his Department of Community Safety. Right now, there are just a lot of questions about this, how this campaign proposal is going to actually turn into a government agency or office. And even just the other day, the New York Times reported that Mamdani's actually on the hunt for another deputy mayor. I thought he was all filled up with deputy mayors, but reportedly they're looking for a deputy mayor for public safety that's going to play. That's going to lead this new Department of Community Safety. So it's clearly still in flux. It's still being formed. And this is just one of those things that it was a lot easier to put together a plan for a campaign. And it was a relatively detailed plan. I mean, I don't want to like disparage it, but it's a campaign plan. And it's so different than when you actually have the levers of power in your hand and you're trying to think about where to move personnel, where to move money, even the even the basics of office space. Is this going to be co-located in one PP? Or are they going to need to rent a whole new floor in some other building? So many questions about the Department of Community Safety, and not a lot of answers. And we'll see.
Jeff, let's talk about how the current mayor has played his politics, right? There, I remember the days when de Blasio played hard. He wanted the Senate majority in Albany, right? He got involved in races, um, and this mayor has demonstrated he's got, and we see the numbers with Claire Valdez that came out when people know about his endorsement. I mean, that's a big bump. You know, those are strong coattails. For better or worse, people said he should have leaned in maybe more in the speaker's race, depending on who you ask, right? Then there was the Lander over Avila's endorsement, right? There's a lot of races happening. He's going to get involved, or he has made it clear that he wants to get involved. What are your thoughts about that? How has he played that thus far? Navigating the different, personalities. We saw Chiose and Congress member Jeffries, where he played it, a large part in, right, clearing the field for Congress member Jeffries. What are your thoughts?
He's been surprisingly involved in other political races in these first few months. Yeah, a lot of mayors would have kept their distance, but no, he was getting personally involved in getting Chiose out of that race, making sure he did not run against Hakeem Jeffries, in telling Alexa Aviles, actually, Brad Lander's the guy, you shouldn't run. It's notable, all of this. And, if you look at each individual decision there, they kind of make sense. You can say, okay, I see why he's doing that, see why he's doing that. But when you kind of zoom out and you look at all of them together, it's inconsistent, and it's surprising, and it's notable that he's getting involved in politics at all. And then the fact that he is, yeah, on some hand, discouraging people from running. On the others, he's effectively recruiting Claire Valdez and pushing her to run over many other potential candidates that could run for Congress, including obviously Antonio Reynoso, who, by the way, cut a whole Spanish TV ad for the guy when Mamdani was running for mayor. So that just emphasizes the difficulties
And
of
obviously the endorsement of Congress member Velasquez, right? That was another,
and going
right?
against Nydia Velasquez. I mean, of course, and then there's the AOC factor. How is she going to play in that race? Is Mamdani going to lobby her to get involved? I don't know. There's so many difficult questions that are raised with politics. And look, he wants to be a kingmaker. And there was a Politico story today that suggested that his endorsement means a heck of a lot. That according to this small sample poll, like, a lot of people, when they hear that Mamdani had endorsed Claire Valdez, they're like, oh, okay, then she's my candidate. So I can understand why he would want to be a kingmaker. At the same time, the guy is brand new to being mayor, and having Claire Valdez be the Congress member versus having Antonio Reynoso be the Congress member, when it comes to like the actual effect on New York City, I don't think there's any difference. Instead, there's an effect on the overall political project of democratic socialism. And it seems like that is what the endorsement was about, rather than like keeping the New York City budget as his focus. And I find that to be very interesting.
I think the other thing I would add to that, essentially from the outside looking in, there's also separate endorsements. There's members in the city council joining DSA now. So that obviously is an outside, right? That's all related to, a lot of it related to his own popularity. And now, there's a lot of seats in play, and it looks more and more that, from Janaris' seat to some of these other seats in Western Queens, it's leaning towards it. He's making it a reality, the kingmaker thing, or he's damn close to it. But anyway,
and DSA is trying hard. There's races all over the city. I mean, it's their biggest year ever.
Obviously, we're going to go lightning round now. Goldman Lander, up or down?
Oh, well, are you asking who's going to win, or is the race going to happen? Because winning? I think the race will happen. I think that the courts will keep that district as it is, rather than redraw the district. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know, but that's what I'm here. That's what I'm reading. That's what I'm hearing. So I think it's going to stay the same.
The Maliataka seat.
The Maliotaga, exactly. I think the districts are going to stay the same. I think it will be Lander versus Goldman, and I think it's going to be Lander in a squeaker,
Hmm.
not a big win, but I don't know. Time will tell. Lander's been running a very quiet campaign, and I'm waiting for him to, if he does pick it up, and we'll see from there.
Gonzalez, Rojas, Ramos.
I think Gonzalez Rojas has this. My colleague Rebecca Lewis just reported for City and State that Ramos, the labor chair, is going to lose a lot of labor support. She's maintaining only a few core unions. All the energy and momentum is behind Gonzalez Rojas. I think she unseats the other Jessica.
Does Espaillat have a problem? He endorsed Eddie Gibbs today over Ayala, whether that means or that's related to his current race. Does he have a problem?
Yes, he does. He is running against a DSA candidate, and DSA has incredible amounts of energy and a volunteer base right now. I think Espaillat is still the favorite in that race, certainly, and I think he will end up winning. But he definitely needs to take it seriously, because if he doesn't organize a good reelection campaign, that's when he could lose to Daria Lisa Chevalier.
Last one is, does Michael Lasher pull it out? And here's why. Every time I'm surfing the net and stuff, I keep seeing these attack ads against Alex Boris. I mean, it is like running nonstop.
So I live in that district. It's on.
Is there a legitimate concern, or does Micah have it in the bag?
I get the text messages. I've gotten, I think, 4 mailers in my mailbox. It is February for a June primary. I mean, that the amount they're spending and how early it is before this race is like crazy. Maybe unprecedented, at least in New York Democratic politics. I don't know. Really notable how much is going into this. It's from the AI industry. The AI industry is split. Most of the big players do not like Alex Boris because of his proposals for regulation. There's a certain part of the AI industry that loves Alex Boris and is actually starting its own super PACs to support him on the other side. It's crazy. That said, and in part because of that, Michael Lasher is still the favorite in that race, and Boris is getting punished. He's he's an impressive candidate, but Lasher is the favorite, and we'll see what happens.
Jeff, I'm going to let you go, but there was a time where you were number one in terms of these metrics I get for these podcasts. You were number one. You've since
I was the
fallen to
first. It's an
three.
honor. It's an honor to be
Yeah,
back.
but
Thank you
I had
for
the new
listening
car
to me and
smell
having
then.
me.
You were number one. Now you're number three. Now why be number two when you could be number one? I need you to work your magic. You got to go back on top, my friend. You've
We'll
lost the
come
top
back.
spot. So, Jeff, I'll let you go. Anything you want to add? I forgot to ask you. I hope
I'm
we
all
covered
good.
all.
I got to close a magazine. Everyone should read City and State. Go to cityandstateny.com. Subscribe to the magazine. Comes out weekly on Mondays. And I'm going to put together a great issue right now.
Thanks, Jeff. All the best, man. Good luck. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks.